The needle's hum sliced through the dim shop like a confession too raw to whisper. Elena Harper stood frozen in the doorway of Ink and Echo, her pulse thudding against her ribs, the scent of fresh ink and antiseptic clinging to the air like regret. She had come here chasing a dream, to learn the art of tattooing from Riley Voss, the woman whose swirling designs had etched themselves into Portland's underground soul. But one glance at Riley's storm-gray eyes, sharp as the steel in her grip, and Elena knew this would unravel her carefully guarded heart. It started 3 weeks ago, in the rain-slicked haze of a Saturday farmer's market under the Hawthorne Bridge. Elena, 28 and adrift in a sea of half-finished manuscripts, had wandered the stalls seeking inspiration for her stalled novel about hidden desires. The air hummed with the sizzle of food carts frying plantains, laughter bubbling from clusters of flannel-clad hipsters nursing oat milk lattes. That's when she spotted the pop-up booth. Riley's temporary tattoos, vibrant mandalas and fierce phoenixes drawn freehand on willing arms, each one a story inked alive. Elena's fingers itched for her own pen, but envy twisted in her gut. She was all words, no permanence. Riley looked up from shading a customer's collarbone, her platinum crop catching the weak sun like fractured ice. "You got a story begging to bleed out?" she asked, voice low and gravelly, laced with that Pacific Northwest drawl that made everything sound like a secret. Elena stammered something about writer's block, her cheeks burning under the chill drizzle. Riley's laugh was a warm rumble, cutting through the patter on canvas awnings. "Words fade, kid. Ink sticks. Come by the shop Monday. First lessons on me, if you got the guts." Guts. Elena had none left after her last breakup, the one with straight-laced editor Mark who'd called her too intense, before ghosting her into therapy sessions that smelled of lavender oil and stale chamomile tea. But Riley's challenge hooked her, a barb in the soft underbelly of her isolation. By Monday, Elena pushed open the door to Ink and Echo, bells jingling like nervous laughter. The shop was a sanctuary of shadowed corners, walls papered in sketches of crashing waves and blooming lotuses, the faint buzz of a distant machine underscoring the quiet throb of indie folk from a hidden speaker, Bon Iver's ache weaving through the space. Riley emerged from the back, wiping her hands on a rag stained black as midnight. She was 30, all lean muscle and quiet command, her arms a gallery of her own work. Thorny roses climbing from wrists to shoulders, a crescent moon phasing across her throat. "Elena, right? Grab a stool. We're starting with outlines. No small talk, no easing in. Just the directness of someone who'd inked over her own scars." Elena's breath caught at the proximity, the faint citrus tang of Riley's soap mingling with the metallic bite of tools. She was American through and through, born in the Rust Belt echo of Detroit before drifting west like so many dreamers, chasing the fog-shrouded promise of reinvention. They began with fruit, bananas, for the curve of lines without consequence. Riley's hand closed over Elena's, guiding the makeshift needle across the peel, her touch steady but electric, sending sparks up Elena's arm that pooled low in her belly. "Feel that? The resistance, then the give. That's life. Push through the tough skin." Elena nodded, throat dry, the shop's neon sign flickering open, outside like a heartbeat. She traced a simple wave, clumsy but alive, and Riley's approval hummed deeper than words. A soft exhale, almost a sigh, as she leaned in close enough for Elena to catch the subtle salt of her skin. By week's end, Elena's notebook brimmed with sketches, her fingers smudged with practice ink that washed off like fleeting thoughts. But the real pull was Riley, the way she'd pause mid-demonstration, eyes distant as if tracing ghosts in the air, then snap back with a grin that crinkled the corners of her mouth. "Lost my sister to the needle," Riley confessed one evening, as rain lashed the windows and they cleaned stations side by side. "Heroin, not this kind. Taught me to make marks that heal instead of hollow you out." Her voice cracked on the last word, a fracture Elena wanted to mend with her own trembling hands. Elena's own ghosts whispered louder in those hours. Nights alone in her cramped Pearl District apartment, the city's skyline a glittering accusation through fogged windows, she'd replay Riley's laugh, the brush of knuckles during stencil transfers. Desire bloomed illicit, a vine choking her chest. Riley was out and unapologetic, her Instagram a parade of queer pride floats and midnight makeouts at dive bars like the Lovecraft. Elena. She'd buried her queerness under layers of denial, dating men who left her feeling like a half-written draft. But here, under the hum of machines and the weight of Riley's gaze, the truth clawed free. The conflict ignited on a Thursday, fog thick as unspoken words rolling off the Willamette. Elena arrived late, soaked from a sprint through downpour, her blouse clinging translucent to skin. Riley arched a brow, handing her a towel that smelled of laundry softener and faint smoke. Rough day. Elena shrugged, avoiding those eyes that saw too much. X called. Wants to talk. The word hung bitter like oversteeped coffee. Riley's jaw tightened, a muscle ticking under inked vines. Don't. They're anchors, Elena. Cut the line. But Elena couldn't, not yet. That night, as Riley demonstrated shading on a silicone practice pad, their knees bumped under the workstation, a spark that lingered. Elena pulled back too fast, knocking over a jar of green ink that spiderwebbed across the floor. Shit, she muttered, dropping to her knees, the cold tile biting through denim. Riley knelt too, their hands colliding in the mess, fingers slick and intertwined. Time stretched, the drip of rain outside sinking with Elena's ragged breaths. Riley's thumb grazed her wrist, deliberate now, and Elena's world tilted, the heat of that touch unraveling years of careful knots. I can't, Elena whispered, voice breaking like thin ice. Riley's face shadowed, hurt flickering before steel returned. Can't what? Learn. Or feel. The question landed like a blade, precise and deep. Elena fled into the night, the city's neon blurring through tears, the echo of Riley's sigh chasing her home. She curled on her thrift store couch, the apartment's exposed brick walls closing in, scented with the ghost of takeout pad thai from last night's loneliness. How could she learn a craft that demanded fearlessness when her own heart quaked at the edge? Days blurred into avoidance. Text left unread. The shop's door a threshold she couldn't cross. Portland's autumn deepened, leaves carpeting sidewalks in crimson decay, mirroring the rot in her chest. Elena poured it into her novel, pages feverish with heroines who chose ink over invisibility. But the words mocked her, Riley's voice haunting every line. Push through the tough skin. It was Marisol, Riley's shop assistant, a wiry Latina with a buzz cut and a laugh like shattering glass, who dragged the truth out over cheap burritos at a food truck on Alberta Street. The air crackled with fryer oil and mariachi from a nearby taqueria. Families huddled under string lights against the chill. She's pining, chica, Marisol said, salsa dripping from her tortilla. Thinks you bolted 'cause she's too much trouble. Past and all. Elena's fork stilled, the steam rising like questions. Past. Marisol nodded, eyes softening. X left her gutted. Another artist, promise forever, then bailed when the spotlight hit. Riley's got walls thicker than her flash sheets. Elena's stomach twisted, empathy blooming sharp as thorns. She saw it now. The way Riley's hands faltered on delicate line work, the extra layer of black in her shading shadows. That night, Elena dreamed of needles piercing skin, not to mark but to mend. Riley's lips on hers, tasting of salt and second chances. Dawn broke gray and insistent, the city stirring with the groan of delivery trucks and the distant wail of a ferry horn. Elena dressed in resolve, pulling on her wool coat that smelled of mothballs and old hopes. The walk to ink and echo felt like pilgrimage, puddles reflecting fractured street lamps, her boots splashing rhythms of regret. The door chimed her arrival, and there was Riley, bent over a client, the buzz a barrier she ached to breach. Teach me, Elena said, voice steady despite the tremor in her core. Riley's head lifted slow, gray eyes searching the client's tattoo. A soaring eagle half-formed on his bicep. Silence stretched, thick as the ink in her gun, broken only by the soft hiss of the autoclave in back. Then Riley's lips curved, not quite a smile but a spark. Grab the stencil. We're doing feathers today. As Elena traced the delicate barbs, Riley's breath ghosted her ear, warm against the shop's cool draft. Feathers for flight, Riley murmured. Light, but strong enough to weather storms. Their fingers brushed again, deliberate this time, and Elena didn't pull away. The needle hummed to life, a duet of vibration and vulnerability, and in that moment, under Portland's relentless sky, Elena felt the first true line etch into her soul. Not on skin but deeper, where fears had long festered. Weeks melted into a rhythm of ink and intimacy, the shop's back room becoming their hidden world. Elena's hands steadied under Riley's guidance, her lines sharpening from hesitant scratches to fluid grace, each session laced with stolen glances that lingered like the afterburn of whiskey. Portland's winter crept in on icy gusts, frosting the windows of ink and echo with fern-like patterns, the air inside heavy with the earthy musk of stencil paper and the faint, comforting char of soldering irons. Elena arrived each dawn, her breath fogging the glass before she pushed inside. The bells jingle a lover's summons. Riley taught more than technique. Lessons woven into the warp of her stories. "See this shading?" she'd say, her voice a low timbre over the machine's drone, demonstrating on a grapefruit's dimpled rind. The fruit scent burst citrus sharp as she pierced, juice beading like sweat on Elena's brow from the focus. "Layer it soft, build the depth. Like trust, can't rush the shadows." Elena absorbed it, her own novel surging forward in stolen hours, chapters pulsing with heroines who bared their underbellies to the needle's kiss. But the real narrative unfolded between them. A brush of thighs under the shared table, the accidental hook of Riley's pinky in Elena's palm during rap breaks, each contact a question neither voiced yet. One fog-shrouded evening, as snow flurried tentative against the neon glow, they closed up late. The client roster had thinned, leaving the shop echoing with their solitude, the tick of a wall clock, the distant rumble of Mac's train snaking through the pearl. Riley flipped the sign to closed, her silhouette etched sharp against the frosted pane, and turned with a brewski in hand, condensation slick on the bottle. "Stay. Got a design I've been itching to try." Elena's heart stuttered, nodding as she perched on the worn leather stool, rolling up her sleeve to expose the pale curve of her forearm. Riley's eyes darkened, not with the machine's hum, but something primal, her fingers cool as they traced the stencil's vine motif, twisting ivy for resilience, thorns for the pricks of pain. "You sure?" she asked, gun poised, the buzz idling like a held breath. Elena swallowed the lump in her throat, the shop's air thick with the ozone tang of fresh sterilizer. "Mark me." The first prick was fire, a bloom of sting that arched her back. Riley's free hand steadying her elbow, thumb circling soothing patterns on bone. Pain twisted into pleasure, the intimacy of it coiling low, Elena's gasp mingling with Riley's focused exhale, the room shrinking to the space between needle and skin. "You're doing good," Riley murmured, wiping excess ink with a gentle swab, the alcohol's chill a counterpoint to the heat building. Their knees pressed, unyielding now, and when Elena's eyes met Riley's over the workstation's clutter, tubes of color like spilled secrets, time fractured. Riley set the gun down, the click loud in the hush, and leaned in, her breath feathering Elena's lips. "Tell me to stop." But Elena surged forward, crashing their mouths in a kiss that tasted of ink and urgency, Riley's hands framing her face, calluses rough against soft cheeks. They broke apart gasping, foreheads pressed, the snow outside muffling the world's spin. "Been waiting," Riley confessed, voice husky, her fingers threading into Elena's auburn waves, tugging just enough to elicit a whimper. Elena's hands roamed, tracing the moon phases on Riley's throat, feeling the pulse leap beneath. "Me too." "God, Riley." The words dissolved into exploration, lips trailing collarbones, shirt shed in a heap scented with patchouli from Riley's vest, skin meeting skin in the shop's dim lamplight. The couch and back, sagging under years of apprentices' naps, cradled them as they moved slow, reverent, the creak of springs underscoring moans that built like crescendo waves. After, tangled in a throw blanket that smelled of stale coffee and sage smudges, Elena traced Riley's tattoos anew, each one a map to her fractures. "This one," she whispered, fingertip ghosting a shattered clock on Riley's ribcage, the skin warm and salt damp. Riley tensed, then softened, her sigh a release. "Time I lost her, my sister." "Stop ticking right." Vulnerability hung between them, fragile as the first snowflakes melting on the sill. Elena pressed a kiss there, soft as absolution. "It ticks for you now. With me." But dawn brought the fracture's echo. Elena woke to Riley's phone buzzing insistent, the screen lighting her face in harsh blue. A text from an old flame. "Missed you at the show. Come back. Riley silenced it quick, but the shadow lingered, a chill seeping through the floorboards. Over breakfast burritos from the corner cart, steam rising in the frosty air laced with exhaust from passing Volvos, Elena probed gentle. Who? Riley shrugged, too casual, ketchup smearing her thumb. Nobody. Ghost from the gallery circuit. We crashed hard, burned hotter. Jealousy coiled in Elena's gut, sharp as the vine now healing on her arm, but she swallowed it. The market's chatter, vendors hawking gluten-free scones, kids shrieking on scooters, drowning her doubts. Portland pulsed around them, a mosaic of rainbow flags fluttering from lofts, queer brunches spilling laughter onto Division Street. Yet Elena felt the undercurrent. Her own uncharted queerness, the whispers from her conservative family back in Boise, Idaho, mom's passive sighs over phone calls, dad's gruff find a nice boy that landed like lead. The real storm brewed mid-December, at the shop's holiday pop-up. Twinkling lights draped the rafters, casting kaleidoscope shadows on flash sheets of snowflakes, intertwined with pried fists. Clients streamed in, the air buzzing with chatter and the pop of champagne corks. Marisol uncorked illicitly. Elena manned the counter, her fresh tattoo peeking from rolled cuffs, drawing curious glances. Riley worked the floor, her energy magnetic, laughing throaty with a burly biker getting a reindeer antlered in glitter ink, her hand lingering on his shoulder a beat too long for Elena's comfort. It peaked when the ex appeared. Tatum, all sharp cheekbones and asymmetrical bob, gliding in like smoke from a Salem cigarette. She was the artist who'd collaborated with Riley on that viral mural downtown. Waves crashing into rainbows, Portland's queer heart splashed across a warehouse wall. Tatum's eyes lit on Riley, predatory gleam. Babe, your lines are calling me. The endearment slithered and Riley stiffened, but her smile was polite frost. Elena watched from afar, heart hammering against ribs, the shop's holiday playlist crooning Mariah Carey's wail like mockery. By closing, the tension crackled unspoken. Tatum lingered, helping pack stencils, her laughter too bright, brushing Riley's arm in ways that screamed history. Elena busied with cleanup, the scrub of sponges on steel echoing her inner churn, the faint pine from a tabletop wreath turning cloying. Night, she muttered, coat yanked on hasty, boots scuffing toward the door. Riley caught her wrist, the vine tattoo pulsing under grip. Elena, wait. But she wrenched free, the bells jingle a final toll as cold air slapped her face outside. She wandered the glittering streets, Powell's city of books looming like a tome of regrets, its windows aglow with dog-eared classics. Snow dusted her lashes, melting to salt tracks down cheeks. Home was a blur, apartment stairs creaking under fleeing steps, the door slamming echo in empty halls. She collapsed onto the bed, sheets cool and unforgiving, the city's hum distant through double panes. Riley's text lit her phone. Talk. Please. Elena curled fetal, the vine on her arm itching like accusation. Love this raw fearless. Felt like drowning in Willamette depths, currents pulling her under. Morning came brittle, coffee bitter on her tongue as she stared at the half-written chapter mocking from her laptop. Marisol called, voice urgent over the line's static. Get down here, Mija. Riley's spiraling, trashed the back room after Tatum left. Elena's coat was on before the call ended. The drive through slushy arteries frantic, wipers slashing fog like doubts. The shop loomed dark, closed sign crooked, and inside chaos. Overturned bins of ink spilling jewel tones across tile, stencil paper shredded like confetti from a broken party. Riley sat amid the wreckage, knees drawn, platinum hair disheveled, a half-empty bottle of bourbon glinting beside her. The air reeked of spilled alcohol and despair. The heaters rattled the only sound until Elena's boots crunched glass. What the hell? Riley's head snapped up, eyes red-rimmed, voice slurred soft. She promised forever, Elena. Said my art was her muse, then ghosted when her big break came. Lights brighter than our shit. A laugh hollow as wind through pines. I'm the fool who inks warnings on others but ignores my own. Elena knelt, glass-biting palms, and pulled Riley close, bourbon breath warm against her neck. You're not. You're the one who taught me to push through. Their kiss was salt and fury, hands clutching like lifelines, the mess around them fading to irrelevance. But as they rose, Riley's whisper cut deep. This scares me. You scare me. 'Cause I could lose you too. Elena's resolve hardened, the shop's shadows lengthening as truth dawned. Love demanded not just ink, but excavation of buried fears. January's grip tightened on Portland, ice glazing the bridges like fragile vows, the Willamette's surface a mirror cracking under wind's assault. Elena and Riley navigated the thaw tentative, their bond a fresh tattoo tender, inflamed, demanding care. Mornings blurred into shared rituals. Elena brewing pour-over in Riley's loft above the shop, the aroma of Ethiopian beans curling through exposed beams, mingling with the faint varnish of drying canvases. Riley's space was chaos incarnate, sketchpads piled like fallen leaves, a turntable spinning Nina Simone's Velvet Ache, records scratched from too many midnight spins. They inked together now, Elena's apprenticeship blooming into partnership. Clients sought her waves soft and story-laden, contrasting Riley's bold thorns. The shop thrived, word spreading through queer networks. Whispers at the Hollywood Theater's drag brunches, flyers pinned to bulletin boards in the Alberta Arts District. But beneath the buzz, fissures widened. Elena's family loomed, holiday cards arriving crisp in the mail, Mom's cursive pleas for a visit. Bring that nice Mark back around. Oblivious to the woman now tangled in Elena's sheets, her snores a gentle rumble against Elena's spine. The call came mid-session, Elena's phone vibrating insistent on the workstation, the client's arm outstretched for a lotus bloom. She glanced, Boise area code, and silenced it, but Riley caught the flinch, her needle pausing mid-shade. The air hummed tense, the machine's whine fading to the shop's ambient drip from a leaky faucet. Family? Riley asked, wiping the skin with practiced swipe, the swab's alcohol sting sharp in the quiet. Elena nodded, throat tight, resuming the line work with forced steadiness. Mom thinks I'm still figuring things out. Riley's gray eyes softened but her jaw set firm. Tell her, or it'll fester like bad ink. Elena's hand slipped, the needle grazing too deep, drawing a hiss from the client. A non-binary barista named Kai, their locks tied back with a rainbow scrunchie. Sorry, Elena muttered, heat flooding her face, the shop's fern in the corner drooping as if in sympathy. Kai waved it off with a grin. All good scars make the story. But the words echoed hollow, Elena's mind churning through the what-ifs. Dad's Bible-thump disapproval, the family reunion barbecue where smoke from ribs would choke her secrets. That night, over ramen at a hole-in-the-wall on Burnside, steam rising in fragrant clouds laced with miso and ginger, Elena cracked. The booth's vinyl stuck to thighs, the clatter of chopsticks a frantic percussion. They're all I've got left, after the divorce the moves. Coming out. It's like erasing the map home. Riley reached across, her fingers ink-stained and sure, tracing Elena's knuckles. Home's not a place, Elle. It's this, the burn of first lines, the ache of holding on. Her voice dipped low, intimate over the din of laughter from a nearby table of college kids debating pronouns. Elena leaned in, kissing the salt from Riley's lips, but doubt lingered like the broth's umami aftertaste. The mouthwan escalated at Imogen's gallery opening, a cavernous warehouse in the industrial east side converted to white walls and wine flights. The air shimmered with pretension, chatter of deconstructed narratives, the clink of stems holding Pinot Noir that stained lips ruby. Riley's mural collaboration with Tatum hung centerpiece, waves cresting in electric blues, rainbows fracturing like light through prism. Elena arrived on Riley's arm, her black dress a sheath of borrowed courage, the fabric whispering against thighs with each step. Heads turned, Portland's art scene was incestuous, nods rippling like aftershocks. Tatum materialized early, sleek in a jumpsuit that hugged like second skin, her bob swinging as she air-kissed Riley's cheeks. Genius as ever, she purred, eyes sliding to Elena with cool appraisal. New apprentice? Or more? The barb landed sly, Riley's arm tightening around Elena's waist, a shield of muscle and warmth. More, Riley said, voice steel-wrapped silk, pulling Elena closer, the gallery spotlights hot on their skin. Elena forced a smile, heart racing like the bass thump from hidden speakers, St. Vincent's edge slicing the crowd's murmur. They circulated, Elena clutching a plastic cup of Chardonnay that tasted vinegary on her tongue. The room's press overwhelming. bodies brushing in the throng, perfumes clashing floral and musk. Riley shone, fielding compliments with modest grins, her hand never straying far from Elena's low back, fingers drumming absent patterns that soothed like Morse code. But Tatum orbited magnetic pull, whispering to Riley about old times, her laugh a trill that grated like chalk on slate. Elena excused herself to the bathroom, the doors swing muffling the din, porcelain sinks cool under splashing water. In the mirror her reflection fractured, eyes shadowed, lips bitten raw. This was the world Riley knew, fluid, fierce, unapologetic. Elena, she felt like an outline half-shaded. A stall door creaked and Tatum slipped out, leaning hip to sink, her gaze predatory. She's intense, isn't she? Devours you whole, then starves. Elena's spine straightened, water dripping from chin. You'd know. Tatum's smile sharpened. I do. Left before she could etch too deep. Save yourself the bleed. The words festered as Elena rejoined the fray. The gallery's air now stifling, wine turning sour in her gut. Riley sensed the shift, pulling her into a shadowed alcove where abstract sculptures loomed like silent judges. What's eating you? Her breath feathered Elena's temple, hands cupping elbows. Elena's confession spilled jagged. Tatum said you're a storm I'll drown in. Riley's face crumpled, then rebuilt, pain flashing raw before resolve. She's poison, jealous ink that fades. I'm here, flaws and all. They kissed fierce then against the wall's cool brick, tongues tangling with desperation. The crowds hum a distant roar. Hands roamed urgent, Elena's fingers digging into Riley's hips, eliciting a groan that vibrated chest to chest. But interruption shattered. A curator's tap on shoulder. Riley, photo op. Duty pulled them apart. Elena left adrift in the swirl, Tatum's whisper echoing like tinnitus. Home was Riley's loft, the drive silent save for the wipers swish against sleet, street lamps streaking gold across hood. They undressed mechanical, the beds give a temporary truce, bodies aligning in familiar heat, Riley's mouth mapping Elena's collarbone, teeth grazing just enough to mark without ink. Pleasure crested sharp, cries muffled into pillows scented with lavender detergent, but release brought no peace. In afterglow's hush, Elena voiced the abyss. What if I can't weather you? My family's coming, reunion in Boise. They expect the old me. Riley bolted upright, sheets pooling like spilled milk, her silhouette etched against the window's city glow. Then show them the new. Or we end this before it guts us both. The ultimatum hung heavy, the loft's radiator hissing protest. Elena's tears came hot, soaking the duvet, Riley's arms enfolding hesitant. I love you, Elena choked, the words a dam breaking. Riley's response was a sob shuddered. Love you too, damn it. But fear's a thief, steals what we build. Dawn filtered gray through blinds, the city waking to plow blades scraping asphalt, coffee trucks steaming on corners. Elena packed for Boise alone, suitcase zipper a reluctant snarl, Riley's kiss lingering salty on lips. The airport loomed, security line a gauntlet of beeps and pat-downs. Elena's boarding pass crumpled in fist. Texts bridged the miles. Riley's fly safe. Come back whole. Elena's reply. Trying. Boise hit like a recoil, dry air cracking lips, the airport's vastness echoing with cowboy boots on tile. Mom's hug was powder-scented and probing, Dad's handshake firm, eyes scanning for cracks. The family home in the suburbs sprawled manicured, sprinklers whispering on lawns, the scent of fresh-mowed grass cloying under Idaho sun. Dinners dragged. Pot roast steaming on platters, aunts chatter about grandkids and church potlucks, Elena's vine tattoo hidden under long sleeves, itching like lye. The reunion climaxed Saturday, backyard strung with lanterns, smoke from the grill wafting hickory and char cousins chased kids across grass, laughter ringing hollow to Elena's ears. She slipped away to the porch swing, chains creaking rhythmic, the sunset bleeding orange over Boise foothills. Mom found her there, apron dusted flour, settling with a sigh that carried decades. Something shifted, honey. That Portland glow, it's brighter but shadowed. Elena's resolve cracked, words tumbling. I'm gay, Mom. In love with a woman who sees me, ink and all. Silence stretched, crickets chirping tentative, the swing sway slowing. Mom's hand covered hers, trembling. Oh, Ellie. We just want you happy. Feared you'd hide forever. Tears mingled, salt on cheeks, the revelation a release like exhaled breath long held. Relief flooded back on the flight, turbulence jolting like aftershocks. Elena texting Riley midair. Told them. They held me. Riley's reply pinged on landing. Proud. Home now, need you. The drive from PDX blurred. Rain sheeting windshield. Heart pounding sync to wipers. Ink and echoes lights beckon, door ajar. Riley waiting in the glow, arms open. Their embrace crushed air from lungs. Kisses frantic against the counter's edge. We did it. Elena gasped, hands in hair. Riley's whisper fierce. We're just starting. Spring unfurled defiant in Portland. Cherry blossoms rioting pink against gunmetal skies. The Willamette swelling with meltwater's rush. Elena and Riley's love deepened roots. The loft a nest of shared sketches and half-read manuscripts. Mornings lazy with the percolator's gurgle and the sun's slant through slatted blinds, painting their bare skin in stripes of gold. Elena's novel neared completion, its pages alive with their story. Veiled, of course, but pulsing true. A writer learning to etch her desires permanent, fearless under a mentor's guiding hand. The shop evolved too, ink and echo expanding to workshops. Queer youth sessions on Fridays, Needles teaching not just craft but self-claim. Elena led one, her voice steady over the hum, demonstrating florals on fruit rinds, the air sweet with orange zest and nervous giggles. Riley watched from the door, arms crossed, pride softening her edges like blurred shading. You're a natural, she said later as they locked up. The evening air crisp with river damp and distant jazz from a riverside club. Elena's laugh bubbled free, linking arms. Your fault taught me to feel the give. Yet shadows lingered, uninked wounds demanding light. Tatum resurfaced in May, an email to Riley. Collaborate again? LA's missing your edge. Riley deleted it unread, but Elena saw the flicker. Old doubts surfacing like bubbles in uncured ink. They fought that night, words sharp as outline pens. Elena accusing Kling of ghosts, Riley retorting with Elena's Boise hesitations. The loft rang with slammed doors, the turntable skipping on Simone's feeling good like a taunt, air thick with unspoken fears. Elena stormed out into the drizzle, streets slick under sodium lamps, the clack of her boots on pavement a metronome to racing thoughts. She ended at the waterfront, bench damp undercoat, the river's lap a murmur against concrete. Memories flooded. That first market day, Riley's challenge, the vine sting sealing their spark. Love wasn't flawless lines, it was revisions, bleeds, the courage to re-ink over mistakes. Hours later, soaked and shivering, she returned, key turning soft in lock. Riley waited curled on the couch, knees to chest, eyes puffy in lamplight. Don't go again, she whispered, voice raw as peeled skin. Elena knelt, hands framing face. Not leaving. Just learning like you taught. Their reconciliation was slow burn. Apologies murmured into hair, bodies realigning tentative, the bed sheets twisting as touches rebuilt trust. Riley's fingers traced the vine, now healed seamless. This was our first mark. Meant it to bind, not break. Elena kissed the words away, their rhythm building to waves. Gasp syncing with heartbeats, release a shared sigh into dawn's hush. Summer scorched in, festivals pulsing the city alive. Pride marching rainbow rivers down Burnside, drums thundering bass that vibrated bones. Elena and Riley walked hand in thread, Elena's family visiting for the first time. Mom's wide eyes at the parade's fervor. Dad's awkward nod to Riley over vegan tacos at a food cart pod. The air electric with grill smoke and queer anthems. She's good for you, Mom said later. Over herbal tea in the loft, steam curling like acceptance. Sees the art in your chaos. Elena's chest swelled, tears pricking as Dad clapped Riley's shoulder. Heard you ink stories. Keep writing ours right. The novel launched in August, a quiet reading at Powell's, the store's vast halls packed shoulder to shoulder. Air humming with page turns and espresso steam. Elena stood at the podium, voice trembling slight, reading the dedication. To R who showed me the needle's grace. Applause crashed, Riley in the front row, gray eyes shining wet, her hand finding Elena's after squeezing fierce. Proud doesn't cover it. But the true high came unscripted, a client in September. A teen named Jordan, 16 and trembling. Fresh from a conversion camp escape, Idaho plates on her beat-up Civic outside. She wanted a phoenix on her wrist, rebirth in flame. Elena and Riley tag-teamed, Riley outlining bold, Elena shading the rise. The girls' hands shook but their voices steadied. Breathe through the bite. You're rising already. As the needle sang, Jordan's tears fell free. The shop's air thick with saline and resolve. Thank you, she whispered post-wrap bandage fresh, for seeing me. Watching her go, Elena turned to Riley, the door's chime fading. This us the ink, it's bigger. Riley pulled her close, foreheads touching. The faint buzz of a distant machine underscoring their quiet. Started with a promise. Ended with fearless. Their kiss sealed it, soft amid the shop's familiar clutter. Portland's summer dusk painting the windows amber. Years layered on like coats of color. Elena's second book. Riley's solo exhibit crashing waves eternal. They adopted a rescue mutt. A wiry terrier named Sage who chewed stencils but slept between their feet. Boise visits normalized, Mom learning Portland slang over Zoom brunches. Dad gifting Riley a leather-bound sketchbook stamped family. Wrinkles etched their faces gentle, crow's feet from shared laughs, silver threading Riley's platinum. On their 10th anniversary back at Ink and Echo, now co-owned with Marisol's Flair, they closed early. The shop gleamed polished, walls a testament. Jordan's phoenix framed beside Elena's Vine photo, client stories immortal. Riley pulled a fresh stencil, 2 interlocking waves cresting eternal. Your turn, she said, gun humming low. Elena rolled her sleeve, the prick familiar bliss, pain yielding to permanence. As Riley worked, her voice wove steady. Taught you craft. But you? You taught me love doesn't fade, it inks deeper. Elena watched the design bloom. Tears blurring the lines, the shop's bells silent outside. Portland thrummed on, a city of reinventions, their love its boldest mark. Fearless etched true.